Amer here again with another Mission Impossible episode review. This time we're doing Season 2, Episode 4, which is called The Bank. So, Jim gets his instructions from a record player found in a junk shop. I think that's happened before. The mission, Alfred Belzig is a neo-Nazi banker in East Germany who has taken $3 million worth of money from people looking to escape from east to west. And he must be stopped. So, we get the usual team plus a fellow named Paul Labar, a former bank robber turned good. Rollin is practicing his signatures. Cinnamon experiments with a ring that can cause interference with TV displays. Obviously, all of that will come into play later. We cut to Belzig talking to a gentleman who is looking to escape. The man hands over his money to Belzig and is taken to the bank's vault, which has a secret door that we are told leads to the west. The poor guy is told to bear left as he goes the whole way, which ends up sending him into a deep pit, as many other victims have fallen prey to, according to what we've been told. Belzig takes his earnings and puts them in a special safety deposit box in his bank. The IMF sets themselves up at the bank, with Jim and Willie taking Paul into custody for suspicion to rob the bank. They're saying that they're federal police. And they can see that Paul was making a diagram of the bank, which he shows to Belzig. Barney, as a new foreign customer, he's apparently part of the Algerian Trade Commission, gets a safety deposit box at the bank, which attracts Belzig's attention as well. Jim presents Labar to the local police, but since they have nothing to hold him on, they let him go. He asks the police captain to allow him to investigate other things that might be going on at the bank, and he is given permission to do so. Rollin goes in as another person wishing to escape the east and is held at gunpoint by Belzig's assistant Kutler until Belzig can confirm that his signature matches the Otto Schleiben who he claims to be. Rollin hands over his cash and Belzig tells him to come back in the afternoon. Jim arrives at the bank with Cinnamon as his assistant, also a policewoman. With Belzig concerned that Labar has been cut loose, Jim tells him nothing to worry about there at this point. He also tells Jim about Barney, the other foreigner who arrived today. Jim asks Belzig to play back his tape, allowing him to get a look at Belzig's recorder. Jim points out Barney was surreptitiously taking pictures of the vault using a hidden camera, and says that the issue is now a federal matter and he's going to stay and get to the bottom of it. He instructs Belzig to allow Cinnamon to become the new vault clerk so that she can be in contact with him, and that bank security needs to stay out of the way, not to mention keeping the whole thing top secret. Belzig doesn't like this, but he has no choice but to comply. He tells Kutler about it, who is also agitated, but Belzig tells him to just act cool unless somebody tries to get at their special safety deposit box. So, Belzig puts Rollin's money in their box, and Jim quickly demands that Belzig give him the serial numbers of the foreign currency they just received. While Belzig does that, Jim cuts out the recent tape of their deposit into their box and sets the machine back up again, while Cinnamon distracts Belzig's secretary. Rollin arrives for his trip through the catacombs to freedom and is taken into the vault and heads through the ominous door. Following the left path as instructed, he finds the pit and lets out a scream, but of course does not fall in. Using the tape Jim extracted, he and Barney are able to find out which box is Belzig's. Rollin comes out of a sewer manhole, meeting Paul, who starts handing him some things. Jim sends Barney back to the bank. He hands Cinnamon an envelope and tells her which is the special box and goes into the vault. Jim alerts Belzig about this, and Kutler also takes notice. Barney puts some electronic stuff into his deposit box in the private deposit area, and Cinnamon enters the vault as well, putting up a picture of the empty vault in front of the camera and using her ring to cause some interference on the TV. Jim, Belzig, and Kutler watch attentively to wait for Barney to return, with Jim commenting that Barney is likely just doing a test run to see how the bank staff will react. Cinnamon rigs up a thin wire around that box, leading to Barney's box, as Paul re-enters the bank. Cinnamon leaves the vault as Barney heads back in. When the security guard turns the key to lock Barney's box, it triggers an explosion of Belzig's box, which is masked by Paul firing a gunshot in the main teller area, causing an obvious disturbance. Everyone rushes out to the teller area, with Barney also pointing a gun and demanding Cinnamon open the gate, which she does. Belzig and Kudler are shocked to see that Barney has their stash. But fortunately, as Barney and Paul are about to make their getaway, they are stopped by machine gun wielding Officer Willie, who takes Barney and Paul into custody to the waiting IMF van outside. The local police arrive, and Jim wonders why, when there was so much foreign currency in the vault, the robbers would choose to go after a particular safety deposit box. Cinnamon helpfully says that it's registered to a fictitious name, and when Belzig says he doesn't have the box holder's key to open it, the police captain tells his men to blow it open if they have to. Belzig obviously doesn't want that. He gets his security to surround the police, and Belzig grabs his box and heads to the vault. Jim invites the police captain into Belzig's office to watch the recorder footage, as Belzig crew finds that the escape door has been bricked up by Rollin. Jim and Cinnamon head out of the bank. Mission accomplished. I'm going to give this one a grade of C-. It's an okay episode. It's not bad, but it's a little bit cookie cutter, I guess you would say. It's kind of almost like a paint by numbers episode, where the IMF is kind of leading the villain through pre-planned steps. Like, okay, we're going to do this. This is what the villain is going to do. Then we're going to do this, and then this is what's going to happen. And they're in control each step of the way, and they have no hiccups at all. So in terms of degree of difficulty of the mission, it's really not high at all. So that is a little bit disappointing. On the other hand, kind of the other side of that coin, it's a good example of a plot where the IMF seems to work backwards. They have the end in mind, and they say, okay, this is where we want to be. How do we get to that point? So from that standpoint, I can appreciate that, they put good planning into this, and that's maybe why it's so easy. That makes sense, and that's actually a little bit refreshing to me. So I understand that there's kind of two sides to that coin. There's also good use of Paul Labar as the guest agent, as a former bank robber. I think they probably could have used him a little bit more effectively, but what they do is good enough. It's not bad, it's not great. Again, the ending is very, very neat visually, where you've got the bad guys who are expecting to get away, are faced with a brick wall, and they're trapped. It's kind of the equivalent of a Disney villain death, in a sense, where the bad guys kind of get exactly what they deserve. So I mean, it's kind of neat in that way. I could kind of take it or leave it. Not so good though. We should have had a clear the vault-o-meter. Oh my god, okay, this happened. Well, let's clear the vault. Oh, I need to clear the vault. Hey, I'm going to be there in 2 minutes. Clear the vault. It's like, does anybody actually ever get to spend some time in the vault, like real customers? Every couple of minutes, it seems like they're clearing the vault because Herr Belzig has to go and do something in it, or something else is happening. That became really ridiculous after a while. Also kind of ridiculous is most of this episode, it certainly seems like, it's probably not true, but it sure seems like we're watching a screen a lot, or even worse, we're watching the actors who are watching a screen and watching said vault. And, that takes up, I would guess, at least a good 10 to 12 minutes of screen time, and that kind of really makes this a slow mover. And I guess that's kind of really what I have to say. Not really a memorable episode. Let's kind of leave it at that. Anyway, that's my grade for this one, and that's my review. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Leave your comments, whether you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear what you have to say, as always. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.